All right, welcome back to another episode of Friday Night Lines, presented by Loaded Box. We're looking at week 6 here. All right, last week, last week was good. It was bad. I said I was going to get at least 4 wins in college football at the end of it, and guess what? I got you 4 wins in college football. I started to feel it. I started to read the board right. Went 4-1 in college football last week. The problem was, I think my concentration on college football got me thrown off on the NFL because I went a dismal 1-4. But if you've been following me the whole year, I'm still hitting at like 63%. I'm still hot in the NFL. I've refocused. I'm focusing on a college. I'm focusing on the NFL. I'm having beers. I'm drinking. And we're ready to go. We're going to get 3 to 4 wins. We're going to be above 500 this week. It's going to be incredible. But first, this was supposed to start off, I think, 3 different times. First time, me and Pat weren't on the same page. Eastern time, Central time, all fucked up. Then we moved it to 5:30. All of a sudden, my wife comes running in and she's freaking out. And my refrigerator was taking a piss all over my floor. And I just had to run up and unplug it. So we had to move it back another 30 minutes. I had like so many this nice intro in mind. Well, I had to talk about this emergency, apologizing for the 30 minutes behind time. But Pat, I had a question for you. And I think I'll probably start off with, these really deep thought-driven questions for you that, really make your mind wander. So when you're taking a dump and you're wiping, when you're wiping and when you get to the point where you decide you're going to be done wiping, do you have to have the paper white, or is there like a little brown still on your last wipe?
It has to be white. It has to be white because if I'm walking around and I kind of feel a little bit down there, I go right back in and I make sure it's white. That's on.
Yeah.
That has to be white.
See, and my problem is I have to get it white too. So I got to the point where I was like, oh, it's almost a white, but it's not white. I want to know for sure. But my problem is I wipe so much, I get the itchy. You get the itchy asshole if you go too crazy because you're just wiping it off. But yeah, I was thinking about that today. Deep thought on the toilet. Like, how long does everybody usually wipe? It's just it's just a good ponder. That's Pat Doyle on the ones and twos, producer, just doing fucking work in the background, just making me look good. Fucking doing all these presentations, the ticker, the lines, the loaded box shit, everything. So let's jump into the picks. Let's jump into the picks. Like I said, if you're watching live, if you have any lines you want me to talk about or whatever, if you have any questions on any of the lines, anything else. I know somebody wanted to ask about the stock market. Just throw it in there. We'll try to answer the question to the best of my knowledge. We're jumping right into college football. Now, again, the only one I lost last week was the Temple game. And the only reason I bet on Temple is because last year I bet on Temple and they won me a bunch. And I had no reason behind it like I did for the other 4 games. And of course, that's the one I lost. But you know what? I'm jumping right back in. All right? It was Temple's first fucking game back. It was a loyalty bet. I'm not jumping off that train yet. You've seen teams struggle in their first games back. They struggled in their first game back. That's fine. They're 13-point favorites against South Florida. They got their legs under them. They've got the experienced quarterback in Rousseau. They have a decent defense, and they're ready to play. They've been hit. They've been punched in the mouth. Now they know what it feels like to get back on the football field, and they're going to come out and they're gonna punch you at South Florida in the mouth. That's all I got for Temple. All right. Again, I'll give them this last chance, but I think they come out and they dominate. I love that it's 13. Stays under that 14 number, so I get 2 touchdowns, even though everybody seems wanting to miss extra points this year. It's really fucking frustrating because in college you kick it from like the 2 or 3 yard line. So that's frustrating. Next, we've got North Carolina, -13 versus Florida State. North Carolina's looking good. They're a top 5 football team. Sam Howell's the man. That offense is rocking and rolling. And honestly, Florida State still, just in my brain, they stink. They should have lost 2 weeks ago to this. I can't remember I don't even care who they played. It was Jacksonville State. It was some Division I. They were down 14 to 21 points at one time. They somehow came roaring back in the third and fourth quarter and won. Florida State's a very bad football team. I'm not worried about a letdown after UNC had a really good game this night. Who did UNC play last week? Do you happen to have that in front of you, North Carolina, by chance, Pat? For me, if you can look that up. But I just think the combination of Sam Howell, he was on fire. They were moving the ball. They let who did they have? Now I'm blanking on it. They let them back into the game, whoever they had. Like they took a huge lead. I got nervous. They let them back into the game. Yes, they played against Virginia Tech. They let them back into the game after having them blown out at one point in the game. And then they kind of took the fuck off again. They covered that spread. Florida State's not as good as Virginia Tech. They're going to crush Virginia Tech. 13.5 is not enough points. They will not let off the gas this game. I promise you that. Next, we're moving on. This is one of my favorites. Mississippi State is +5 versus Texas A&M. Now, I know everybody's like, Texas A&M just beat their first top 5 opponent in like 20 years in Florida last week. Guess what? I gave you Texas A&M last week. So it seems like I have a good read on Texas A&M. Mississippi State scored 2 points against Kentucky. How are they 5-point dogs? They should be 15-point dogs. They should be 20-point dogs. They should be double-digit dogs to a team that's confident. Just beat they had a huge win against Florida in Texas. They had a full crowd there. I don't know if any of you watched that game. They were packed. Kyle Field was packed to the brim. It was wild. It felt like a real college football game again. But here's the thing. In college football, I believe in letdown games. It happened with Duke earlier this season. I letdown games are real. They're 19 years old. They get big up for a game like Florida at home, and then they go on to the next game, and they don't take it as seriously. Even Mississippi State, they beat LSU in week 1. Next 2 weeks, they get their ass kicked. I'm not a big fan of Mississippi State right now, but I love Mike Leach. I think he gets that offense rolling. TAMU is just going to be too big for their britches. They're going to come back down to earth. I think Mississippi State can win this game. I love taking the 5 points. It goes against everything that the public is going to be doing. Smash Mississippi State +5. This might be my favorite bet of the weekend. Like, this is the one I would bet most on if I were you. Next, we've got Georgia. This is the game of the weekend, not even close. Georgia +5 versus Bama. Georgia just smashed Tennessee. They just beat the shit out of Tennessee. Tennessee had like 2 quick scores in the first half, and then they had 100 yards of total offense. I think they had 250 yards of total offense the entire game. They couldn't move the ball. Georgia's defense is unfucking believable. They're so good. Now, the thing that worries me in this game is their quarterback, Stetson the fourth, or whatever his name is, something Stetson. He's not great. And they really rely on the defense and run game and just playmakers around them to score. Now you're playing against an Alabama team that's not as easy to beat as a Tennessee. This is Alabama. This is Nick Saban. I know he's got the COVID. He'll probably be coaching from a bubble. There's no way he's going to be at home. He'll find a way to be on the sideline. I'm sure he will. But I just think that defense is so good. I don't know. The one thing that worries me, I just said it, I'm repeating myself, is that the quarterback isn't going to be able to move the ball for it's going to be tie game, 10-10, fourth quarter. All of a sudden, Alabama scores a touchdown, goes up 7. Does Stetson have enough in him to drive down the field and just keep them in that game? That's what I worry about. I might have to rely on a defensive score. That's the one thing I worry about. But I just think Georgia's defense is so good, and the offense and the quarterback can do enough that they can keep this within 3 points when it comes down to it. I can see Bama winning, but Georgia's defense is so good. I think it's going to be low scoring within 5. It has to be. It has to be a close game. Next, I've got Kentucky +6.5 versus Tennessee. I don't have a ton of analysis on this. This is what I see from Kentucky. I doubted them last week, not on the show, but in general. But they just run the ball. They play their own tempo, play good defense. They dominated Mississippi State. They just 24-2 last week. Just put a shellacking on them. Tennessee is over-cocky, overconfident, and pace is going to kill them. It's like when you're an ACC team, basketball team, and you go into Wisconsin, and you're like, oh, we're going to run these guys out of the ability to score 1,000 points. But they play defense. They play defense, and they play at their own tempo, and they control the pace, and you end up losing 43-41 in basketball. That's the same thing here. It's going to end up being 17-10 or 17-13. Tennessee is going to be pissed because they're going to want to take big shots, and Kentucky's just not going to let that happen. They're all about keep the ball in front of you, control tempo, run the ball, and just control the clock in general. The fucking dog. I'm going to have to cut his throat pretty soon, so so he quits barking. Are you catching that on the fucking feed, this shithead dog? All right, so that's my college football picks. Temple minus 13, UNC minus 13.5, Mississippi State plus 5, Georgia plus 5, and Kentucky plus 6.5. Sound like there was repeats. Now we're gonna move on to the NFL. I'm telling you right now, do not fade my picks because of 1 week. Still the hottest fucking gambler in the United States of America, continental. If you listen to the podcast, the hottest gambler in the continental United States. I don't know what somebody's doing in Alaska, but here in the continental United States, I'm the best goddamn gambler. Don't you forget it. And I gotta guess who's back this week. I'm gonna give you guys this little action shot. Aaron Rodgers. And I think that just helps my mind get right. You know, he's playing. I've got God shining above me. And I've got him to guide me through these NFL picks. Last week, I didn't have that. He was at home having whiskey, just watching the games, not out there killing people. Now I have that confidence. He gives me that confidence. It's like Loaded Box bringing on somebody to try to replace me. I am the Aaron Rodgers of gambling. So we're going to start up. This game right away is it's probably a throwaway game. But I'm going to say it. I think it's going to get canceled. I've got the Pats minus 9 versus the Broncos. If they end up playing this game, I can't take one more week of the Pats being pushed back. In the Broncos, like how many more weeks can they push this goddamn game back? It's ridiculous. But if they do get to play this game on Monday or Tuesday or whenever they play, the Patriots, no matter when they play, if it's on Jupiter, the Mars, the Moon, Patriots are going to kill them. It's going to be a double-digit win. Cam Newton's going to have his way with them. I don't know. Yeah, Drew Lock's not fully ready yet. Unless they push it back a week, I'll still probably end up taking the Pats anyways at that point. Belichick's going to come in with a plan. People are going to be talking shit about him and this COVID and how they're handling all of that. You saw what Mike Vrabel did in Tennessee. Belichick bred Mike Vrabel. He made Vrabel what he is. So you think he's not going to come out and beat this fucking shit team by 40 points too? He's not going to let Vrabel show him up again. Pats minus 9, love it if they play. If not, scratch it from the records. I've got the Vikings minus 3.5 versus the Falcons. The Vikings outplayed the Seahawks last Sunday night. That whole game, and still found a way to lose that game. Falcons aren't good. They fired their coach. That doesn't make me think that they're going to turn around and all of a sudden be good. Matt Ryan sucks. I'm never going to believe in Matt Ryan. He's let me down way too many times. But that Vikings defensive line seems like they're starting to, oh no, I got something in my eye. We have panic. I'm a freak about things in my eye. I don't like it. The defensive line is starting to get active, and Matt Ryan's going to have troubles, and he's going to start to panic like he's been doing. He looks like he's seeing ghosts like the ghost of Sam Darnold in the pocket. I love the Vikings here. I love them. It's one of my favorite picks of this week. My Vikings minus 3.5. They shouldn't have any problem handling the Falcons. They should be able to dominate that defense. Justin Jefferson's going to have a big week. I don't know if you've released your FanDuel article or your daily fantasy sports article yet, Pat, but I highly suggest finding room for Justin Jefferson at a bargain in your daily fantasy sports lineups.
Hey! A sneak peek. My tournament stack of the week: Kirk Cousins, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, all 3.
Look at that! I fucking call it out. I love it. Perfect. It's exactly what it's supposed to be. Fucking stink. They're going to be able to throw all over them. That's a lock. Lock that in. Put that. Your biggest unit bet is going to go on the Vikings Falcons this weekend. Okay, minus 3.5. Browns plus 3.5 at the Steelers. Browns have been playing awesome. I'm still not a big believer in the Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger, he's been playing good. He's been playing okay. He had a big bust out game with Chase Claypool somehow putting up 4 touchdowns out of nowhere. And suddenly the biggest get on the waiver wire in the whole world. Might be a one-off. I don't put a lot of things into 1-4 touchdown. The beer's getting me. Holy shit. In a 1-4 touchdown game. But he's going to be a good wide receiver one way or the other. And I think Myles Garrett, who's one of the best defensive players in the league, if not probably the second best after Aaron Donald right now, is just going to get after him and get after him. And I think they'll struggle to run the ball, and that's going to put him in harm's way. But the Browns Stefanski, he just impresses me. He knows what he's doing. He's running the ball. And then he turns around, does play action, throws the ball to Odell or Jarvis or whoever's out there as weapons. Plus, the Steelers defense, I've been saying, is extremely overrated. Last year, they benefited from great weather games. Now you see them go against the Eagles, who may be the most injury-riddled team, and they got murdered by fucking Travis Fulgham, for 150 yards and like 2 touchdowns. You kidding me? They put up 30-something points. That is not a good defense. Okay, that should tell you a lot right there about the circumstances they ran into last year to make them people think they're a good defense. They're not. The Browns' offense is better than the Eagles' offense. They shouldn't have problems scoring on this Steelers team. I'm telling you that right now. I'm going to save this next one for last. I had on here Cowboys, Cardinals, over 54.5. Last week, I switched around the over-under. The over bet went under. The under bet went over. It was embarrassing. What a fucking shame. I'm embarrassed. I don't like that. I'm not doing that. Honestly, I think this is going to be a huge under week. But this one over I love. I think a lot of people are going to go under because of Andy Dalton playing. But Cardinals, Cowboys over 54.5. Andy Dalton is a formidable quarterback, and he may be the best backup quarterback in the league. And he's going into a situation where he has 3 amazing wide receivers, one of the top three running back in the NFL, and a team that's just going to score. They just throw the ball. McCarthy gets obsessed with that. And the Cardinals are playing against a defensive team that might as well be the JV team, this varsity team playing down the street here in Madison, Wisconsin, going up against the Cardinals. So they're going to be able to put up points back and forth. DeAndre Hopkins is going to have a day. Andy Dalton's going to have a day. It's going to be back and forth all the time. This is going to be a 30-something game. You're going to be in the 60s to 70s like college. This is way over. I love that. 54.5. And lastly, but not leastly, you know it, my Green Bay Packers. Somehow Vegas hasn't figured it out that a road game does not matter for Aaron fucking Rodgers. They are 2-point favorites. I got them at a pick 'em recently, but at this point, when I wrote this down, it was 2-point favorites. You can get them at a pick. You can get them at 1 in some books. If you get them at less than 2, smash it. I keep putting more money on this game. Sorry, Tom Brady, you're going to struggle. I know you're getting all your weapons back, but Jair Alexander's taking one of those wide receivers. Most likely Chris Godwin out of the game. They're going to double Mike Evans and move coverage to his side while Jair takes out Chris Godwin. And Smith and Clark, who's back, are going to get to him. In the secondary for the Bucs, that's their weakness. And Aaron Rodgers has been the hottest fucking quarterback in the league, and he's getting Devontae Adams back, and they're going to dominate this game. You just lost to the Bears. You think I'm worried about this team coming off of a bye week? I don't care if you have 10 days off. This isn't Belichick and Brady. This is Bruce Arians and Brady. And Bruce Arians does not scare me. And Brady throwing deep outs does not worry me at all. Because that's going to be pick 6 in house. I love the Packers -2. Pat, what do you think? What do you think about what do you like for a pick? And what do you think about my Packers take there?
I absolutely love the fact that you said it's Arians and Brady and not Belichick and Brady, because we're really seeing that, especially in that game against Chicago, Tom Brady shit his pants at the end of the game. That's not classic Tom Brady that us New England people are used to seeing. So clearly something's wrong, and I think Tom Brady will slowly get exposed game after game here, that he's just clearly dust, and Max Kellerman is finally going to get his cliff take.
Yeah, exactly. So what's your pick for this week?
Well, I feel good. I will say I feel good coming back because the first week we did this, I went with that the under on the Cowboys Browns, and that
got smashed.
That was the worst take I probably could have went with. So last week I went with Carolina over Atlanta, which so I came back with that one 1-1 now for the season.
Guaranteed winner if you're going against the Falcons.
Yes, absolutely, so easy.
They're part of my parlay. I had a parlay with the Panthers in there, and I won, so that was nice.
Awesome, perfect. But when I look at all the spread on the Giants football team, the Washington Football Club, I see just -3. It's 43 points, and I just see that whoever wins this game is gonna win the turnover. Whoever turns the ball over the least amount is probably gonna end up winning this game. That's just how I see it. I don't see a lot of points. It's gonna be a shit show. And I think that Washington defense has a better opportunity of getting the ball out of Daniel Jones's hands, and I can see it. I'll probably call it defensive score by Washington this game too. So that will probably push them over the whatever the Giants can deliver. So I'll take Washington over New York in this game.
So when I gotta ask you, I've gotta talk about our pre-show conversation. You said something. I was hoping you would say it here, but you didn't yet. You said something about this. Is like, did you use the words like an easy or like an easy win for when you get into gambling? And like, how could they lose this game? Did you say something like that?
Yes, absolutely.
Let me teach you a little something about. Let me teach you something about gambling. I was actually hoping you'd say that on the show because I was like, shit, we should say this for the show. When you think something's an easy win, that's right where fucking Vegas wants you. They want you right there because you think it's a guaranteed win, and that's when you lose. I've guaranteed so much. I don't think I've ever won a guarantee. Ever. So that's why I stay away from the word guarantee on here. I just say I love this game. I would put the most units on it. But easy and guarantee and like I don't know how this is going to happen. Those are scary words to me. Those are trigger words where I'm like, oh shit, I've said that a million times. I am always so confident in this game that I get smashed. You're gonna learn. You better watch out. Watch out for that.
Hey, you're right, but they still had the Falcons favored last week, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I'll give you that one. But just be careful on the words you use when you're talking about games. Okay? If you're gonna use the guarantee word, I'm going to make you put something on the line. You didn't use the guarantee word. You didn't. But in the future, if you use the guarantee word, you're going to put your life on the line. You're going to have to take a picture like Saquon Barkley on the cover of ESPN if those lose in the future. Just remember that. I'm not doing it here. If you ever use the word guarantee in the future, I'm making you put some stakes up.
Hey, I just didn't know any better. Okay, I appreciate the lesson here because you're definitely right.
I'm a degenerate, and this is what we do. This is like I'm giving out winners. I'm educating my fucking producer, and it's like the most fun I've ever had. I'm so happy you guys came along for the ride in week 6. We're gonna have. This is the record, I promise. So we got 10 games. You know what? I missed one game on here. Oh, bonus pick tonight. BYU plays at. Let me go see if I can pull that spread up really fast. They play at 8:30 against. Here, I'm going to pull it up really quick. They play up. Yes. No, is that Houston's playing right now against. Is it Houston? Okay. So they played 8:30 against Houston. Houston went off last week. They scored a shit ton of points. BYU had a letdown game. They didn't score much. BYU is a fucking
one of my favorite games.
They were looking ahead to this Houston game. They've been dominating people. They came in sleepy. I'm not adding this to the record because it's tonight's game and not Saturday. But this is one of my favorite games. Smashed the BYU spread. I think it was BYU -4. Smash BYU -4. They're going to win by double digits. This game gets my dick hard. Okay, gets my dick hard. BYU, that quarterback that wears the fucking headband. You can't bet against a quarterback that wears a white quarterback. Zach Wilson, I think his name is, that wears a headband. That guy is an electric factory. That offense is so good. They move up and down the field. They're like this year's version of Utah, but with a better offense. BYU will win this game. Slow down Houston. They will win this game they'll just frustrate Houston because they can't score. They'll get on their game plan, and they will win this game by double digits. I lock that in for a win tonight. Bonus pick. That's all I have. Thanks for joining me on this we're going to win 7 games, 7 out of 10 games this week. Maybe 7 out of 9 if the Patriots game gets canceled this week. Lock that in. Gamble through it. We love winners. Cheers. Thanks for coming along. See you next week.